KILR Killer Game.
Hello there, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and we are back here with part 2 of the coast-to-coast flight with SubLogic Flight Simulator II for the Commodore 64. And we left off here in Phoenix, Sky Harbor International. I know, look at it. Doesn't it look just like the real thing there on the screen? Alright, so let's go ahead and pull up the map so that way you folks can see what we've got planned. So this is the overall map of all the scenery discs, as far as all the maps that come with the scenery discs. I had did a lot of copy and pasting and trying to line up the best that I could based on those maps. The yellow areas are areas that were not covered on the Commodore 64. So this yellow area up here on top is Scenery Disc 8. Down here by Florida, this little area here is Scenery Disc number 8. And then Scenery Disc number 12 is up here, New York, Maine, those states right there. 8 and 10 were never created for any system. 12 was actually created for the Commodore Amiga and the PC, but we did not get that for the Commodore 64, unfortunately. So this little coast-to-coast flight started over in Los Angeles, and we made a stop here in Phoenix. Took us about 3 hours to get there. And where we're going now, I'm not sure how far it's going to be. And I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to fly, but the goal for today is to fly to Albuquerque. That is going to be the next leg of our flight. And we're going to be using ADFs on this flight for some of them. So like here we're going to Globe, and then we'll go to Sholo, and those two are ADFs. So we will activate that and fly directly to those, and then we'll be using VORs after that. So we got Zuni, Gallup, and then straight to Albuquerque. So go ahead and we'll make sure we get this tuned in to 255. Now before we can do that, we have to actually activate it on the simulator. So we'll need to go over here, and let's see, I think it's on the next page. Yep, all the way at the bottom. Gotta come down here and put a 1 right there, then come on out. Hey, look, it moved us to the runway. Yay. So there's the ADF right there. Well, hello there, RJP. Good to see you. It has been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, so welcome to a nice long retro flight that we're going to be doing here. Part 1 was 3 hours. Well, 3.5 hours, but the flight itself was probably around 3 hours. Let's see, gotta pull up. It was 255. That's it. Oh, I'm like going over here trying to click on it. I'm like, oh wait, Commodore 64 doesn't have a mouse. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, 225, right? I think that was right. No, it was 255. How do we change that? We do Control A. That's for the first digit. Control AA is the second digit. Control AAA is the third digit. And then you have to use the less than, greater than sign, or basically the period and the comma, to either go up and down on your digits. And then for nav 1, the first VOR that we'll get to when we actually get to it is going to be Zuni, which is 113.4. So we'll go ahead and put that in. 113.4. Try telling the younger ones that computers didn't always have a mouse and hard drives. Yeah, I know. They used to have floppy drives. What's that? And some of them probably never actually saw an actual real floppy. All right, I think it is time for us to get going here. Oh, hang on here. Let's take a look at the map for a second. Where on this runway are we at here? Yeah, we're about there. Okay, so let's turn around, get over to the beginning of the runway. Oh yeah, tape drives. Oh my goodness. Yeah, when I actually, when my family had a Commodore 64, you know, back in the 80s, we didn't have a disk drive. They were expensive back then. We had a tape drive. Yeah, we never had the VIC-20. As far as why we got the Commodore 64, well, I think it has something to do with the commercials, and also because it was available like at any department store. Heck, you could probably go to a grocery store and pick up a Commodore 64. That's how popular they were. Never messed with the Spectrum 48K. Okay, we're at the end of the runway here. Now, one thing that I've learned from this simulator is if you're trying to turn around, you've got to get your speed up and then just a little bit. And then turn the throttle off. Otherwise, you're just going to make a curve. You're just gonna do a full 360 and wind up in the grass. Oh, nice. A 1060 to a 3080 Ti. Oh, I bet that's really nice. There we go, folks. we are up in the air. And that is looking backwards. That brown in the distance is Phoenix, Arizona. Looks just like it, doesn't it? But what you might find interesting is on the... Whoops, that's not going to do anything. On the map here, if you were to look on Google Maps, Phoenix would look, well, kind of like that. This this white line here is the I-17, which goes to Flagstaff. This line right here is the I-10, which goes to California. And the I-10, which continues to go south and east, this is the I-8. This will go down to Tucson and then go out to New Mexico and Texas. So you got to turn this around to where this line over here is north, because we're going east. But yeah, if you take a look at a real map, that's what you'll see. Alright, so the ADF is telling us to go in this direction, not necessarily at 030. So what we do is we just turn until that needle's pointing straight up and down. Now, how far away is it? That we don't know. I think that is pretty close. I think that 001 is saying that we're 1 degree off. I think that's what that means. And then 000 means we're heading directly to it. So I believe that's what that means. I could be wrong. We'll take a look out the left window, or windows. Then out to the right, there's an airport out that direction. There we go. Trying to move some windows around and it kind of messed things up a little bit. I fixed it. Chandler Stellar Air Park is what that was. Let's see if it's Yeah, so right there, that little runway, that's the Chandler Stellar Air Park. Okay, so the ADF is now saying from. Okay, great. So that's not correct. Should be 2. That doesn't make any sense. Yep, confirmed the frequency. It is 255. I don't think we've reached globe that quickly. Huh. That is kind of weird. Yeah, that's a little further than what it should be. Or it's not as far as it should be. May have to pull out the map so we can take a look at it. Let's do that here. Okay, so globe right here, 255. We should have seen an airport if that was it. I don't know what's going on there. The next one is Sholo 206. I guess we'll take a look and see if 206 comes up. Yep, don't have anything for 206. Huh. It changes it to a certain direction and then it says from for some reason. Maybe we weren't going quite in the right direction. Let's aim back in that direction and see if maybe it changes. Okay, so that's Phoenix out here. could tune in to Chandler, which is, or we could just tune into the Phoenix VOR, which is 115.8, and then maybe a would get us to globe. One 115.8. Maybe it's 6. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so we've got nav1 set to Phoenix at a vector 080, and we were just going to be going at a 067, heading to intercept it. I am going way too high. I'm approaching 5,000 feet. I don't want to go that high. Although I am curious if they programmed this simulator back in the day to where the higher the altitude, the faster you're actually going. That would be interesting if that was the case. Doing a little bit of on the map. There's a guide for 50 nautical miles, so I am looking to see how far. That's about 50. I'd say globe is about 80 miles. Chandler and globe, it's actually 50 miles. Let's see. The VOR for Chandler. It can be hard to read. Ah, what's this thing doing? .5. Now, in case you're wondering what in the world I'm looking at here, let's go ahead and show you. So, this is just other pages of the scenery disk map, so it'll give you all the coordinates and information about the runways and all that other stuff. So, 113.5, right here is the Chandler VOR. So we're gonna, oh no, sorry, 113.3, that's what that is. So we're going to tune that in, and once we're 50 miles away from it, and I think it would be at a vector of 070. 113.3. Okay, so we're only 5 miles away. Well, there we go. We're at a vector of 075 to intersect the 070 radial from Chandler. We're only 7 miles away from it, so since we're close, it shouldn't take us too long to intersect radial. We got Phoenix, Arizona right back there in the background. And nothing but green grass and blue skies ahead of us. And an ADF that is questionable. Not sure what the deal is with that thing. So how did your flight go with the new GPU? I don't know if you've been with me since I got into trucking, but I now have a gaming laptop that I do everything on, and it's got a 3070 in it. Oh yeah, Flight Sim 2020 is going to work out for you. Yeah, the laptop I've got is that's a GS76 Stealth from MSI. It's got an i9 processor, RTX 3070 inside it, and so it does Flight Sim 2020 just fine. Does the truck simulator, emulators, obviously, which is what I got right here. My Oculus Quest 2. I haven't done much testing with it. I did test it out with Truck Simulator just to make sure. Tested it with Flight Sim. Have P3D installed. I got version 4 and version 5. X-Plane 10. I don't have to reinstall that. All I have to do is just copy the whatever. And I believe since the last time you saw me, back then I did not have any flight controls, and I do now. I now have flight yoke, rudder pedals, and a throttle. I'm not using it for this. But I have used it on a couple of Flight Sim 2020 videos, and I also used it on a P3D 4 and 5 video for a new series that I'm working on, which I call the Upgrade Tour. And so both P3D version 4 and version 5 are going to fly the same route, but each episode I will add one thing to it. So it starts off with vanilla, and then I'll add something new, like an aircraft, or something. Upgrade the scenery. And the reason for that is I had to reinstall all my stuff from the tower that I had over to this laptop. So I figure, hey, why not turn it into something interesting as far as upgrading it and piecing it together, you know, one upgrade at a time. Globe. There is an airport at Globe, so we should be able to see something. Oh, I didn't even know you were married before there. Yeah, I don't remember you probably mentioned something on a stream, but I just don't remember. But yeah, things have changed for us too. We no longer have. We had to sell it. Didn't have much of a choice there. And we're now in a fifth wheel RV. Completely paid for, which is nice. And we have the ability to move and change locations, which is something that we've always wanted to do. And so when we tie that into the trucking industry, basically, if I take loads and I'm out somewhere on the east, I can move the fifth wheel out in that area, and it's not so hard for me able to get home and spend time with her. Oh wow, 11 years. It looks boring up ahead, so if we just look backwards, and we can see Phoenix. We can see the I-17 going northbound there. There is a lake off to the left there. We'll pull up the map again here. So here it is. It's the lake right there. We're going to find out here in a moment. Lake is Theodore Roosevelt Lake. That is what I think. Yeah, that's what it is. Kind of cool how that works out for something, you know, that's this old. Oh wow, that's messed up. That is really messed up. Got to switch fuel tanks here from the left to the, or sorry, the right to the left. Airport. $2,500. That is so messed up. Yeah, having children would have made that a lot more complicated. So we can see the lake here. Now with just a little bit of visual reference, we'll go ahead and pull up that map again. So here's globe. We should be able to see the airport somewhere when we get actually past this part of the lake. So you can see where we're at. Somewhere around here we should be able to see it. What's the white meant to be? You talking about this back here? This white line? It's a major roadway. Usually it's an interstate. Sometimes it might be a state route. It depends upon what they decide to put in there as far as scenery. Since I think all that is just a horizon line. A wide white strip. I'm not sure. The only thing I noticed before the flight sim map, but that was about the only thing that I did. I know for me, when this came out and I was going from airport to airport, I was kind of excited about it. I think the reason for that is there was solo flight at the time. That was the first thing that I had actually flown, and you're just doing mail runs in a certain small area, and so Flight Simulator 2 was like opening up a lot more to be able to fly, especially the scenery discs. The scenery opened up almost the entire added Hawaii and Europe. Yeah, I know. I spent hours on this too. It's kind of the this particular series right now with the I don't think many people could claim that they've done that nowadays. There it is. There's globe. So I was pretty much right on the money. We're headed right in the right direction. The ADF is not working for anything, but but that's it. And I said it was about 50 miles. We're at 40 miles, 40.9 miles. Pretty cool. See how exciting it gets when you're playing an old sim like this and you actually... something pops up that you're looking for. So we're going to fly over that. Now there is another ADF at Sholo, which is 206, but there's also St. John's VOR 112.3. So let's go ahead and tune in St. John's here. So we're a little too far away. ADF itself is 206, it looks like. .206. Let's see if we have better luck with that. No. It showed us something at first. Watch, the ADF there is below the OBI. So if I do this, it gave us a direction, and then it goes to FR. So I don't know what the heck happened there. I'm not sure if there's a way to actually change this number here. Find the little control card that comes with Flight Simulator. Little reference card. Alright, let's see. Nope, you can't change the digits on it. We'll pull the map back up here. So you can see here with globe, if you were to look for other VORs as a reference, and this line here which points to north, that's almost north. I would say this direction would be 5050. I think that's relatively in the right direction. So let's go ahead and change there. No, sorry, not 050. I think more like 010 or 020. Let's make a compromise here. We'll do 015. You mentioned my streams. Wow, that's cool. It's pure coincidence. I didn't know you were on a stream. Yeah, I'm just taking advantage of the opportunity that I have to do a Twitch stream, which I haven't been able to do in like the longest time. Because I think I might be going back on the road with my truck this coming week. I've been on hold because I've had to get my medical card renewed. It's only good for a year. Yeah, believe it. I've actually been in the trucking industry almost a year now. Yeah, but once I get that renewed, I'll be able to get back out on the road. I wanted to try to do streams from the truck, but either I didn't have enough time to really do a good stream, or I didn't have a good signal to be able to, you know, to do an actual, where it would actually be stable. Four cameras, wow. Wow, that is a lot. $700 to $800 gigabytes per month. The guy used for his service to try to find a mobile service with that kind of data available. I mean, heck, I've got a 5G device and I only have a 100 gigabyte limit on it. Oh, 4 internet connections. Well, that might explain it. I think with Verizon you can get up to 150, I think. Wow, this ADF has been absolutely no use. It has been no use and not helpful at all. Which is a shame, because I was kind of looking forward to making use of those ADFs. That's the Globe Airport behind us. Out in that direction is the Lake Theodore Roosevelt, Phoenix. Heading in. I have two devices. If you don't count my phone as being a device, I have two hotspot devices. One's a 4G and one's a 5G. The 4G has a 50 gigabyte limit and the 5G has a 100 gigabyte limit. And it's kind of crazy because the areas that I've been to, generally the 5G is faster, but there have been times where the 4G is faster than the 5G. Or one is faster on the download speed than the other, and then one is faster on the upload speed than the other. It's kind of weird. Well, you're pretty fortunate to have unlimited. I haven't been able to find anything like that. I have found services that claim it's unlimited, but they were sketchy. They were sketchy. I've heard, and there's a whole bunch of them. It's like a third party that offers like unlimited through AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. Usually they say it's the blue line, or like the blue service, which is AT&T, the red service, which is Verizon, or the pink service, which is T-Mobile. And what they're doing is they're sending you like a SIM card of a business account that has unlimited, but it will only work so long until it doesn't work anymore, and then you have to get a whole new SIM card again, because apparently the carriers they'll monitor the data stream, and if they see that it's not being used by a business, they deactivate it, which means you have to get a whole nother SIM card. It's crazy. And I've read that customer service through those companies is really bad. Trying to cancel, they like charge you like over $200 trying to cancel the services. Yeah, I just didn't want to go through all that. I figure I'll do it directly through the carrier. Oh, look at this. The ADF has gone off. 206 is the right one. That ADF totally does not work. 7,700 lost somewhere. No, we're not lost. I know where we are. That lake right there. I'll pull up the map so you can see it. That's it right here. We're heading in this direction. If we keep going in this direction, we should be able to catch the signal for this VOR right here, 112.3, although we're going to this one, 113.4, but at least we know if this comes in, then we can start heading towards it. And although I was thinking of flying all the way to Albuquerque, I think we'll have to land in Gallup. I think going all the way to Albuquerque is going to be for what I can actually do today. There should be an airport there in Gallup. Yeah. I'm also looking at our fuel too. Although we were able to get from Los Angeles to Phoenix on the left and right tank, barely. I don't know if we'll make it all the way to Albuquerque on that same amount of fuel. Oh, your first trip. That's pretty cool. Did you ever recreate that flight in Flight Simulator? Going from LAX to Phoenix in a 737? You can do something close to that now. Oh, you've done all your flights on the sim. That's cool. And PMDG has released the 737 on Flight Sim 2020. I don't have it yet. I wonder if that ADF is reading properly. It says off, but it looks like it's pointing in the direction that we're supposed to go. Heathrow to Hong Kong, Brussels to Johannesburg. Yeah, see, there you go. Heathrow to Hong Kong, that's definitely that'd be a lengthy flight there. It'd be pretty fun to do those on VATSIM if there happens to be coverage in those areas. There was, I never was able to do it, but there was a China tour. It was an event, I think, that was flying. It was a multi-day event flying. One that I was a part of. That was like a total of 24 legs. It was crazy. Ah, look! Our VOR has gotten a signal. Our our OBS has gotten a signal. So we can go ahead and change this. Okay, a heading of 046. See, we're not lost. I know just where we're going. I think I'm going to take us to a vector of 040. Or somewhere close to that. .038. Up ahead. right there. So I wonder if that's the Sholo Airport right there. Go back to the map here. Oh, no, it's not Sholo. It could be this one right here. I don't know, if we're going this way, that would be a little off. I don't know, that could be it. So we could be seeing the Sholo Airport. We could be seeing this one right here, which is number 15. Yeah, and I don't know if the Springerville ADF is going to work. Now, Zuni is on our flight plan, 113.4, but I think we're too far away to pick up that signal, especially since we're 70 miles away from this one right here. So this is number 15. I will look. Actual map. White River. Okay, so this little white line up here is White River. Or Sholo, one of the two. I'm not surprised. I think this mic has been having some problems. How's that? Does it sound better? I think I've got to get a new mic or a new headset. So not sure how much you heard, but I believe this airport up here is either Sholo or White River. Right now we've got 112.3. I've discovered the ADF is, well, not really working the greatest. This is tuned in to Sholo. It says off, but the needle is pointing relatively in the direction where it's at, so that could be what that is. But we didn't have any VORs in between Phoenix and the next VOR. The only thing was ADFs. But if we, I'll pull that back up here. So yeah, leaving Phoenix, there's an ADF and another ADF and another ADF. And it didn't quite work. So I had to use the Chandler VOR. I calculated it was 50 miles, and we were able to see that. Also, we were able to see this lake, so we had a few points of reference that we were able to use to get us in the right direction. And then I went off in this particular direction. The Sholo ADF just wasn't working correctly at all. But I was able to go into this direction until we caught this, the St. John's VOR. So we're heading not exactly to it, kind of off in this direction. So then we'll pick up the Zuni VOR, which is at 113.4. Oh, that white line disappeared. Oh my, look at this. Do you see what the altitude and the... I think what this is doing, it's making an accommodation for a change in elevation. I think that's what this is doing. Because there's really no decent way to simulate mountains or anything. So what it does is it raises you and the world up. So if you're 2,000 feet above ground level and that ground level goes up 1,000 or 2,000, then it will push your altitude accordingly. I think that was the only way that they could do it back then. Yeah, you're right. Mountains didn't exist in the 80s. Back in the 80s, it was all green grass and blue skies. Roads were drawn out with chalk, white chalk. And we got around just fine. Ah, okay, so that white line is not an airport, that's a road. I think that might be the I-40. That could be Interstate 40 is what that could be. That I've had to do with this headset and to the backpack that I've got where I put stuff in there to come a little something, and that could be why the signal keeps going in and out. Oh, see, that's pretty cool. Especially if you can do a repaint on a 707 and put the actual tail number on it. We should probably look at the altitude in this area and see what we have. Let's pull that up here. So I'll go ahead and pull up that information. So Springerville, here we go. Okay, well that doesn't give us a altitude figures. Sholo, altitude 6,412. Oh wow, okay. St. John's, altitude of 5,733. Something tells me that we need to get higher in altitude or we're going to wind up landing or something. Scam likely. I'll just hang up on that. Okay, so we were really close to the ground then. So I was wrong. It does not keep you 3,000 above ground level. Little things that you learn when you're flying these old simulators. St. John's is 5,733. We got to get higher. We'll bring it up to 7,000 feet. Alright, 7,000 feet, we should be good. Since we don't have mountains in here and we just happen to have a ground that just gets higher and lower, I guess you could say they're green rolling hills. Current time in the simulator, it is 1200 hours or noon. Alright, 43 miles to St. John's. I am wondering if Zuni will pop up. It's 113.4. Let's find out. And it does. That's what I'm talking about. Now we can get back on course here. .024, that is the heading we need to go. Yep, we're not going to make it to Albuquerque. We're going to have to land in Gallup. I don't think the fuel's going to last. We got about 130 knots, though. Here's our map. So Zuni right here, 113.4. That is what we're heading to. We may see this airport right here, airport number 12. That's probably the St. John's airport. So we're heading to this, and then after that we'll be landing here in Gallup. 115.1 is the frequency for that. And it's just a single runway. Pull that up here on the list. Gallup, located at 15129 north, 9265 east. Altitude is 6,468. That's going to be important, because we can't really see how high or low we are. So you got to think of IFR flight rules. So we got to remember this. And then we got a runway of 6 and 24. So I would say try to land on runway 6 if we can. This is the Albuquerque map. This is the one that's got that shows the actual airport. The section for Phoenix doesn't actually show it, but based on this, I mean the VOR is off to the side here. Yeah, but if we're coming in, we'll be able to adjust our heading, I think, decently enough so that way we can land on runway 6. I've got us on a heading of 024, which is taking us right to the Zuni VOR. We need to adjust our altitude here. Remember, I told you the altitude is going to be important from that list. We're under 7,000. And the altitude of the airport at Gallup was 6,468. Typically in these old simulators, I like to fly maybe roughly 2,000 feet higher than the ground level, so that way I can be able to see the runway and be able to line up with it the best that I can. The lower you get, the harder it is to try to see that runway with these pixels, to be able to line up and land on it. So I'd say maybe 8,500. I think that's probably a good altitude for us to be at. I haven't seen any airports. Inasek, hey! I know, the graphics are very detailed, aren't they? And guess what? This loads up in mere seconds. Now that's a flight sim for you. What do you mean? A Piper Archer sounds just like that. Yeah, I don't know either. Flight Sim 2020? Nah. That's a kid's game. This is a real simulator right here. Why do I say that? Let's see how people nowadays can fly this actual flight simulator and actually one, let's see if they can actually land it without crashing. Two, let's see how long it holds their attention. So in case you're wondering what we're doing, we're climbing to an altitude of 8,500 because we are going to Gallup. We're going to land there for fuel. We are heading to the Zuni VOR, which is 113.4. Yeah, let's see how many could get to the destination exactly. So I'll go ahead and pull that map up here so that way you can see it. So here it is, Zuni 113.4. Gallup is right after that at 115.1, and we're going to land there. Now, what I did, I spent an evening doing this. These are all the maps from the SubLogic scenery discs. And I did a lot of copying, pasting, trying to line things up, trying to clean things up the best that I could. But these are all the Western scenery discs. These are the Eastern ones over here on this side. You can see the difference between the two. The Western was done like this. The Eastern side was done like this. And then the yellow areas, this up here, they weren't done. They were never completed. This was scenery disc number 10, never done. Scenery disc number 8, never done. Scenery disc number 12, not done on the Commodore 64, but it did show up on the Commodore Amiga and the PC. So I have put all these maps together so I could figure out what route I was going to take. Because trying to look at the individual maps to try to find out what connects with what is not exactly easy, but if I put them together like this, I was able to, you know, oh, okay, yeah, let's take this route, etc., etc. So yesterday we started off in Los Angeles and flew all the way to Phoenix right here, which wound up being about 3 hours. Then we're going to fly to Gallup. I think that's about as much as I can do today. I don't know. We'll see how far away Albuquerque is. I wanted to fly to Albuquerque today. But yeah, so we're going to Albuquerque, Tucumcari, Amarillo, Oklahoma City, going up Interstate 44, where there's Tulsa, Springfield, Missouri, St. Louis. Then working our way up this way to Champaign, not Chicago, it's kind of out of the way. Indianapolis, Cincinnati. Going east here to Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, and this is not part of the scenery disc, this is part of the default area. So I kind of put it in here the best that I could. But we would be going to John F. Kennedy, and then across Long Island over to Martha's Vineyard. So that is the overall flight plan. And we are currently heading to this right here. Pretty crazy, isn't it? If you look down here in the lower right, you'll see the fuel. There's a little arrow that's pointing over to the right fuel tank. So I've been switching back and forth here. So even though I would like to try to make it to Albuquerque, I don't know if we would actually make it to Albuquerque. I don't know, it should be good for 3 hours. That's what we did yesterday, but it seems to be running lower on fuel today for some reason. It could be because we're going faster. I was going close to 120 yesterday. Today I'm got it up to 130. It's possible we might actually make it. We'll make it to Gallup, no doubt about that. Look at the gyro compass. When you put on reality mode with this, it the drift on here, like it drifts like a little way too fast. See? Control D will fix that right there, but it won't take long for this to go off another degree. See, there it is already. That's our magnetic compass up here, 024. See, and it's already gone to 025. Oh, look! Airport! That is probably St. John over there. I think that is the St. John Airport. Nothing over here. So yeah, this right here, I believe, is what we're passing. We might be able to tune into the Gallup VOR now. According to the map, it is 115.1. So let's go ahead and change the navigational radio to 115.1. And yep, there it is. We are 68 miles away from Gallup. And we need to fly at a heading of 016. Roughly. So got a little bit more to turn here. There we go. We're approaching 8,500 feet, so I think we can go ahead and bring back our throttle just a little bit. Now this old simulator has a hard time transitioning from one altitude to another. It's kind of weird how it does it. We saw during the flight the altimeter just kind of like started to just out of nowhere just started to just go up, go up, go up, go up. That's basically simulating that we're going higher in elevation, like the ground levels is getting higher. So it's very important that we refer back to this information here, so that way we know where the ground level is going to be at. And Gallup is right here on the screen. The altitude is 6,468. So you can see why I've got us around 8,400. But should be about 2,000 feet above ground level by the time we get in that area, which should be high enough for me to be able to see the runway and be able to line up with it the best that I can. Wow, we're going close to 140 knots. Wish I could have had that speed yesterday. So 60 miles until we get to Gallup. And we're not going by horse, we're going by plane. Although I think this plane has horsepower. Oh, I see what you did there. There's a white line out here in the distance. That is Interstate 40. Got to remember to come in here and do your Control D and Control B on a routine basis, just to make sure that your gyro compass and your altimeter are staying accurate. Okay, I just did a little bit of measuring on the map from Gallup to Albuquerque, and it's roughly about 100 miles. And I don't think we're going to have enough fuel for that. So Gallup it is. You might be amazed of how dynamic the lighting is. At nighttime, the center line shines white. You can't see anything else, but you can see that center line. See, another thing about this simulator, it's a conversation piece. While people are talking about their latest achievements in Flight Simulator 2020, you can say, well, yeah, guess what? I accomplished this on the Commodore 64. You did what? It's loading in scenery. At the moment, I'm not seeing anything. We are... Ah, there's the line. Okay. It kind of moved us. We were on the right vector. It kind of shifted us over, but you can see that the DME is still... We're still locked into it. A sound pack? What vector do we need to be on here? Okay, 22. That's not bad. We're pretty close. The Wayback website. You know, if you have headphones on and you listen to this Commodore 64 sound for a while, you begin to be convinced that it really does sound like a plane. And when you go outside, you hear sounds that are similar to the Commodore 64. Imagine that's the key. That is the very key to it. Listen to it enough times, it'll be in your dreams. It'll be a wacky dream where someone will knock on your door, you'll open it, they'll open their mouth and this will come out of their... this sound comes out. It's like... 48 64K of RAM. I think the Commodore 64 had 64K of RAM. I think that's why it was called a 64. I'm assuming the VIC-20 was 20K of RAM, but I don't know for sure. $3.5K of RAM. Oh my word. That's a lot less than what I thought. Man, the VIC-20 was like a Fisher-Price toy next to the Commodore 64. And then there was the Commodore 128, and nobody cared about it. The Commodore 128, you had the Commodore 64 mode, you could boot it up in 64 mode, and that was usually what most people did with a 128. Like some things were made for the Commodore 128, but yeah, I think generally nobody really cared. Because the 64 is where everything was at. Yep, for me, Commodore 64 was my first family computer, not my own personal computer. The Amiga 500 was my first computer there. And then I went from the 500 to the 2000, and I believe I went to the 4000, and then got my first PC after that. And I still have my Amiga 500, but it doesn't work. I think my Amiga 2000 does work. I don't know. I haven't tried booting it up. All I know is that I got it for the video toaster, and when the Toaster 4000 came out, which took advantage of the Amiga 4000 and the AGA graphics chip, and you could have color wipes and stuff. I got the Amiga 4000 and moved everything from my 2000 over to the 4000. A Pentium 1 9000. Mine was a Pentium 90. It was a Packard Bell. A Packard Bell Pentium 90. And the reason why I bought it was so I could play Flight Simulator 5. But then, shortly after, I learned about the MAME emulator. So I'm like, oh, wow, check this out. I can play Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, and and it was like the actual game with the actual graphics the way they should be. Let's see, and then during that time I had discovered the Atari 2600 emulator, Stella. I think I messed around with an Intellivision emulator also. Mine didn't come with a game, but I did get stuff when I bought it. I bought Flight Simulator II when I got the Amiga. Deluxe Paint, Deluxe Music Construction Set. I got this one game called Libyans in Space. I think that was all that I got. I know sometime after that I got Defender of the Crown. Then there's all the Psygnosis games. Let's see, there's Blood Money, Lemmings, of course. Yep, that was my first computer with a mouse, too. Oh, you hated Lemmings? Oh, come on, they're so cute. What I liked about it is that if you were frustrated and wanted to rage quit, you could just hit the nuke button and blow them all up. We are running low on fuel. Oh my word. Look how low the fuel is. We're 29 miles away from Gallup. I think the games that I played the heck out of with Commodore 64, definitely Flight Sim, but summer games 1 and 2 and winter games, those I played a lot of. Let's see, Raid Over Moscow. I had Impossible Mission. I had a heck of a time trying to figure it out. Rescue on Fractalus. Super Huey. Forbidden Forest was one that I played a lot of. The Movie Monster game. Space Taxi. Played that one quite a bit. Hey, taxi! Take your taxi, and if you hit them, they go, hey! Oh, wow. Look at RJP there, scalping Commodore 64 games. It's like, no. It's called entrepreneurship. Oh, wow. Okay, so you're selling it for a lot less. I hope we make it to the airport because it looks like we're going to run out of fuel. Yeah, I definitely have some fond memories of the Amiga. Just, you know, doing my own upgrades and stuff with it. I started with 1.2. And then later I upgraded to 1.3. Lean the mixture? I probably could. I'm not sure what the what the control is for that. One thing's for sure, I don't think we're going to have enough fuel to do a go-around. That's for certain. And you do not want to try to land in Flight Simulator 2 and not have any fuel. Because if this were to stall, forget it, game over. "18 miles. Oh, Directory Opus. Oh, yeah. I remember when I finally got that, how nice it was. And I think Directory Opus tried to make something for Windows, and I just didn't see the purpose of it. Because in Windows, you can just open up 2 folders and just transfer files back and forth. You didn't need Directory Opus to do all that. Oh, St. Elmo's Fire. John Parr, who also did the song Naughty Naughty. Which, I don't know how long it's been since I've heard the Naughty Naughty song on the radio. The St. Elmo's Fire one, I think, you'll probably hear that on an 80s weekend or something. 12 miles! Can we make it? Keep switching back and forth between the fuel tanks. .9 miles. We should be able to see the airport soon. Alright, let's start lowering flaps here. I am going to save a snapshot just in case there happens to be a problem. We can go right back to this point. One degree of flaps. One degree of flaps. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, they are definitely rudimentary, that's for sure. And yes, that was the count. $7 miles. Where's the airport? It should be out here. It's just slightly past the Vor. .4 miles away. There it is. There it is. And And there's a dot out in the middle of nowhere there. I don't know what that is. Alright. 2 degrees of flaps. Ha 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 ha. We were saying earlier that it was runway 6. Can't see it on the map yet. This is where we'll run out of fuel. I'd like to know what this white dot is. Alright, our last degree of flaps here. How do we know that we're lined up at the runway? You gotta look at this white diagonal here and kind of move yourself accordingly. Try to visualize that, what that runway looks like, and then go from there. So I'm just making small corrections. And it's runway 6, so when we get done we should be at a heading of close to 060. Not showing up on here yet. Altitude is 6,400. Okay, so we might be lined up with it. Yep, there it is. You see it? There's the dot right there. Is that a fuel box? We're close to lined up to it. Not exactly lined up, but we're close. It shouldn't be a fuel box. These airports on the western scenery just didn't have any fuel boxes. Still can't really see it. It looks like we're off to the side here a little bit. No, it looks like we're just about lined up with it. This is where I use the rudder controls here to make fine adjustments. Here we go. There we go, we landed. I think we were going off of fumes. Oh my heavens. We actually did it. Now there's that dot. I guess maybe that's just supposed to resemble a control tower. It's not really a fuel box or anything. Well, let's clear the runway here. Get the flaps up. Now you may be thinking, how do you fill up the plane? Oh, thank you, Shot. Appreciate that. So how do we fill up the plane? First of all, that's where we're at. Just want you to see that for a moment. All right. Let me go ahead and capture a snapshot here. And then we will go ahead and load up the menu. So as you can see here, reality mode is set to 1. Okay, that's how you have the drift and the gyro compass. That's the setting where if you run out of fuel, the engine goes off. You have to use the magnetos to turn it on, all that other stuff. So basically what you do is you just go to the menu and then you hit E to come out, and it fills up your tanks. That is how you do it. Of course, if you ever need to go to that menu during a flight, it kind of resets your fuel. Also, it moves you a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. So you're not exactly in the same spot. But that's still the airport. But that's cool. We actually made it to the airport. And just to kind of recap on how this flight went, let's go ahead and just pull that map back up again. So we left Phoenix and we were trying to use the ADFs, and we discovered they did not work very well or at all. So had to use the map to find out how far it was from Chandler to Globe, which was about 50 miles. So I left the Chandler VOR at a I don't know, like a 070 radio, about 50 miles. Sure enough, we saw the Globe airport, and then we just kind of went off in this direction because Sholo wasn't working. But eventually this tuned in, and we were able to start going in this direction, and then this tuned in, and then we were able to get back on track, and then finally loaded this up. And you can see the airport. It's just past the VOR right there. So, although I did plan to go to Albuquerque, yeah, we don't have enough fuel for that. So that is a rough overview on what happened on this flight. And with that, we got to wrap things up because I've got some packing I've got to do. Because it's hard to explain. I'm moving locations between my home and then over at my folks, their motorhome, because of my cat Spice. He can get a little finicky with the other cats that we've got. So just kind of moving back and forth a little bit. But in any case, thanks so much, everyone, for joining me on this stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to do some more live streams. Definitely want to try to continue this and get to the East Coast. I think that would be a incredible feat in 2022. So far, I have no word on when I'll be back out on the road in the truck. So I'm going to try to do what I can before that happens, and then when I do get back on the road, I'm going to do the best that I can to try to to try to continue our flights all the way to the East Coast. Does the Sim have a client for flying online? No, that was the next one. You had to have the Commodore 128 for that. But thanks again, everyone. It was great having you. And we'll see you next time. Have a killer awesome day.